Okay, this is some Silent Hunter 4, The Wolves of the Pacific. I didn't know we had a submarine fleet until this game came out. And, well, this is not a tutorial on the game. It's actually going to be more like gameplay. It's a little cartoonish, I think. But, whatever. I guess this is where your medals are going into. But this is the psychedelic part of the thing. See that? Whoa. Whoa. And then I think this is you. So basically you're the poster child for the Cracker Jack box. And you have a fat head. And you're the ugliest guy on the boat. Unless this is supposed to be your kid. Then he is the poster child for Cracker Jack box. And he's got a fat head. And he's the ugliest offspring you have on the boat. This here is the crew members. These are the quarters. I have a Pompano. That's the name of the boat. Let's see here. That's a boat that was laid down in 1936. So I guess these boats here could do at least about 400 something feet. And if you don't know what 400 something feet is, that's roughly about 85 to 90 meters. And then these things implode. So the submarine technology, I guess, here is not that great. Okay, I had to learn the hard way that you drag and drop these into the little slots. So I'm sitting here clicking on it going, what in the world is going on? Now on this boat we can put ourselves 20 millimeter guns or 50 cal guns or 50 cal deck guns. Now I don't know if the designers are confused, because I think they are, to be honest. When I looked up this purpose class, apparently the weapons available for this boat was a 50 caliber deck gun, a 50 cal machine gun, and a 30 cal machine gun. So I don't know where the 20 millimeter comes in at, because the 30 cal is a 7.62 millimeter gun, and the 50 cal is a 12.7 millimeter gun, and the other 50 cal is a 3-inch. Now I know it sounds confusing, but this is how this works. Okay. Apparently, I don't know whose idea it is, but 30 cal just is not good enough for diameter. It also means the length of the barrel. So I don't know what idiot came up with that to be a good idea, but this is where the confusion starts. The deck gun is roughly a 3-inch gun with a 50 cal length barrel. That's what that's supposed to mean. As stupid as this listing is, that is what that is. The 50 cal is 0.50. That is the gun that you should. If you don't know what a 50 cal machine gun is, it uses the same kind of bullet found in the Barlett sniper rifle. Then you had the famous 30 cal, which is the 0.30, that is found on the Jeeps and stuff. That uses the 7.62 millimeter round. So that's what's going on. So basically these are the wrong weapons for this boat, because when I looked it up it didn't even list the 20 millimeter gun. So I don't know where these go. I didn't check that far. The game's new to me, and this is what I'm working with. So anyways, that's the rundown for this. I don't want to spend a lot of time with this, because so far from what I've already dealt with messing with them, I'm not really that impressed with the game. Because, generic, cartoonish, whatever you want to call it. If you want dead torpedoes, this is the place to go. I saw one documentary and they stated that these torpedoes that were used on the subs during this time were junk. Either they didn't blow up, which was practically the entire complement, so that means only 2 may work out of this complement, and that was realistic here, historical, unless the sailor that served on one of these boats is lying. and that would be several other ones that served on the other boats making the same claims. So they would be lying. But according to them, these were junk. If they couldn't hit their target, they go off and do their own thing and sink to the bottom. And if they hit their target, they wouldn't blow up. And this was a common. And maybe one or two might. And that was like a flip of a coin from the way they made it sound. So if you want your dud torpedoes, this is where you go for it. Okay? Because I can see that. The Germans been in the war with U-boats since World War I, and they invested into something that they plan to use all the time. That's why our aircraft carriers are number one, because that's where we put our money into. Aircraft carrier, aircraft support. Like the British is number one with their destroyers, because that's what they are, their battleships, because this is where they put their money into. That's why they got had the number one naval fleet for a long time. So it's all where you invest your money in. And from what I'm looking at, apparently, definitely not naval resources in the submarines back during this time period. Okay, now that we're kind of done in here, let's go see what happens next. So I come in here, we're aboard the ship, and the first thing I notice is this. You're probably going, well, what's wrong with that? For me, it's just, hi, I'm here, look at me, I'm a gauge, I'm up here so you can see me better, because this is just not enough. What's up? I'm a train gauge, ding, 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 ding. It's just, to me, this is ridiculously unnecessary. Okay, this here is like a shallow gauge. And I'm thinking it's a shallow gauge, and this is the deep depth gauge, because the U-boats, or I'm sorry, these subs can only do about 90 meters before imploding. That's right, this big huge boat can't dive the same depth as a Type 2 U-boat can. Type 2 U-boats maximum working depth is 150 before imploding. The shipyard rating for the U-boats were 90 meters. Because they were being depth charged, that's how they discovered they can go down to about 200 something meters. And of course that's going to be found out later on after the war, because the Germans are not going to go up there and say, oh yeah, we can go all the way down to 220 meters, no problem. Because then they'd lose that safe bet, because the depth charges weren't getting that deep, because they didn't think they can go that deep, because 400 something feet is a floating depth for something like what we're in. 400 something feet is approximately about 85-90 meters. So it's not very deep to work with. So this would be the deep depth gauge. And this would be the shallower gauge. So that's a pretty interesting run. So what we're going to do here, because I did take a look around and got a few things, so I kind of understand what's going on with this boat now. So we're going to head out to sea and then go out on a mission to see if there's anything that we can come across, maybe some action. I've already learned that at periscope depth, the observation periscope is worthless. It's just weighted scrap on this boat. I've never seen anything so useless in my life. The attack periscope raises much more higher and you can see more. The understanding of why it's like that is beyond me, because you can't see nothing, and the observation scope is like still in the water. Well, I get a good view of all the waves and all the water underneath it, but the attack periscope seems to be the only functionable periscope on this boat, because the other one is absolute junk. So I guess we'll be mostly working out of that. Okay, I'll get back to you when something else comes up. It's going to be a long run out of port here. That can approximately take a toll of the long board, isn't it? You know, riding out of here. It's going to take a long time. You talking to me? No, I ain't talking to you. Yeah, you were. He's not talking to you. Yes, he was. No, I'm not. Yes, you were. No, I'm not. Yes, you were. No, I'm not. So I'm busy sitting here looking, and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Besides all my crazy thoughts, I happen to notice that here we got this advanced style type game, and we're still using square corners. See? So this executable can roll up to over 1 gig. With all their fancy graphics, we're still rocking square corners instead of a straight line like a sand barge run. And I'm busy thinking, oh, brilliant! That's as far as we got in our game technology. Not to mention that the structures that were used in Sonic 103 didn't look as cartoonish as these. I mean, look at that. Anyways, I'm looking at the U-boat and I can see that we're still rocking the Civil War time period iron Clydesdale ships or clad ships. So here running around in the Civil War ironclad ship that's been converted to a sub. That's what it looks like to me. I'm still trying to figure out where the cannonballs are. I'm gonna just look at the rivet build on this thing. It's everywhere. Like they don't know how to use paint. Just here's an iron boat, not even made of steel. Here you go.
Yes, sir.
Boxcar shape. Just put some welds on it.
Yes,
maybe fit some wood to it, and there you go. Good luck.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I can see that.
7.